Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to start a new series where I take you day by day and show you exactly what I do to kind of accomplish a clean home while still trying to tackle other things. Now, most of you guys follow because I've been talking about dealing with depression and anxiety and how it really isn't that easy to tackle our houses because there's a lot going on mentally, physically. There's a lot of exhaustion. There's a lot of decision making. I myself have recently been diagnosed with ADHD, and so I have been training myself to my best efforts to build schedules, to have a plan going on. And so I've always mentioned to you guys that I like to tackle one area of my house pretty much throughout a single day. And during the weekends, I don't do a lot besides doing kind of like a reset because quite frankly, I need to give myself that time to fill my cup. I've mentioned in the past that we really cannot pour from an empty cup. And so the weekends tend to be kind of like a reset timing to spend time with family, to gather my thoughts, to gather some energy. Now, here on a Sunday, I still try to do some stuff if I'm feeling a little bit anxious. And this week has been a little rough. So I decided to do some stuff as I was putting the dishes away. So basically, I'm going to show you guys what I do every single day. I change a section of the house. I make sure that everything has its own task and I follow those tasks. It's a very short to-do list, anywhere from 1 to 5 items, depending on the day and how things are in that room. So I will show you kind of how I tackle that along. I would typically tackle the bedrooms, and I had done that, but today you're gonna see me just do my reset, and the reset is just anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. Some may take 15 minutes of just kind of putting things back where they belong. Here I was just vacuuming up the food and the crumbs because it really gets to me when you walk over them. So I like to just kind of focus 20 to 30 minutes of every single day to putting things back where they belong, throwing trash away, making sure the areas are cleared off. And so I do those every day. Sometimes I focus mainly on the downstairs. Sometimes I'll go upstairs and tackle laundry. It just really depends on what areas of the house truly need that help. Often enough is going to be the living room and the dining room because those are just the sections where we're at the most. And so this is what I'm doing right now. And the resets don't include cleaning. These are just either fixing or moving or putting things back, but it's not really like a cleaning. I'm not wiping down counters unless there's a spill of some sort or something sticky that should be removed. Probably going to see me going through the toys, making sure this area is completely cleaned up. And I try to do this a little bit more often than not, even if it's not part of the reset, just because the toys can get out of hand. The area can get out of hand. And so it's important for me to kind of always stay on top of it if I want to make sure that it doesn't get too wild. So in the past, I've tried to have areas in the living room for the kids, especially closer to the return of school, because we do homeschool. And so I have a little one that needs to be entertained while I'm working with the older one. And so you will probably see me doing this quite a lot. I constantly change it. I'm constantly moving it around just because it helps the little one be entertained. And so that's kind of how I go about it. always try to kind of work on the kitchen and resetting things back. Again, this is sometimes going to be part of the reset, but usually my husband and I try to tackle the kitchen. This is going to be the messiest part of the house, and so usually I work with him side by side to make sure that everything is cleaned up and we each have our own tasks that we take care of. This kind of helps us for the next day so that it's not too crazy. It doesn't happen often, but it's always nice to wake up to a clean kitchen, and so we just try to tackle that as much as we can to kind of stay on top of it. But this has got to be the worst part for me. Like, I just absolutely hate cleaning the stove. There's nothing about it that I like doing it, and so when it needs to get done, I just need to just focus on it and get it done. A lot of you guys have asked me in the past what I do to kind of scrub everything down, and honestly, I just use Dawn soap and some water and sponge, and at the very end I will sometimes try to polish it, but I try not to use much of anything on it because it's just kind of one of those things that, like, the more you use, the less it's gonna look clean. And so I just try to use some soap and water, and it does the trick. It really does, even on burnt on items, or like when there's a spill of some sort, or oil or egg, you name it, it takes care of it. The only thing that sometimes I've noticed is if there is oil, try to kind of use a paper towel to absorb it first, because you do not want to just keep spreading that throughout the stove. So that's the only thing that I would suggest. I've also gotten questions on how to properly clean it and how to go about cleaning it. I try to also not use much of anything chemically wise or cleaners. A little bit of soap to remove the grease, and a microfiber, paper towels to remove any like food crumbs or sauces that might be in there. But otherwise, it really just comes down to using a sponge. In the past, I've also mentioned like heating up some white vinegar and allowing it to sit there while it is steaming the area and removing some of the grease. But otherwise, it's pretty straightforward. And so I just want to make sure that you also keep an eye out for the top part of the microwave where it's going to be really dusty and gross. So don't forget that section. Mentioned to you guys that when you're doing your resets, you want to make sure that you focus on the areas that need the most help. That is going to be, if you're in the kitchen, the dishes, the trash, and the counters. If you're in the living room, it's going to be the floors, the couches, the trash. If you're in bedrooms, it's going to be the floors, the trash, and your beds or bedding. And lastly, that would be clothes going into dirty hampers if they are dirty, or at least a hamper where things are going to go and get put away. So it's very important to just kind of focus on those things. It'll help you stay organized and overall be able to focus on the things that are most important, so that if you don't get to everything, that is completely okay and acceptable. Keep in mind, you're not going to accomplish this every single day. We are just focusing on building habits, because those habits are what's going to carry us through some of these harder times.